In today's podcast, we're interviewing Rachael Beckemeyer, one of our badass CrossFitters, a totally badass weightlifter. She's amassed over 700 confirmed CrossFit sessions here at CrossFit Edwardsville, has become one of our most competitive weightlifters, and is proof that you can be a female and be strong as hell. We're going to learn more from Rachael in the podcast today. Stick around.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we do get to learn from our CFE coaches, meet and learn some of our CFE CrossFitters, which is what we're going to be doing today. And we also get to meet and learn some of our Glen Ed community leaders and business owners. I'm your co-host, Dallas Amston. I'm a speaking and presentation trainer, helping business owners, especially introverted entrepreneurs, be their authentic self on stage and in presentations, and so that they can communicate to succeed. And with me always,
what's up, guys?
That was so silent, G.
I thought you were going to say it. I wasn't sure how that was going to play. So what's up, guys? I'm Coach G, the CEO and GM at CrossFit Edwardsville, and today Dallas and I have the great honor and privilege of getting to interview one of our CFE badasses, the wonderful Miss Rachael Beckemeyer. Rachael, welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Is this your first time on a podcast, being interviewed for a podcast?
No, actually, it is not. I've actually been on a few other podcasts randomly here and there. So,
well, cool. Hopefully,
this is the first. Yeah, this is the first one I've ever been recorded.
Yeah, a video version.
Yeah.
Well, so by way of introduction, Rachael officially became a part of our CrossFit Edwardsville community on March 8th of 2019 as a part of our CrossFit Foundations program. And according to our Zen Planner system, in the last 3 years, she's amassed an astounding 716 confirmed CrossFit sessions and has become one of our most competitive weightlifters. And she's also competed on Team CFE at the Festivus Games.
That's awesome. So Rachael boasts some impressive weightlifting numbers. I'm going to go ahead and give them out to you. Rach, 130-pound snatch, 165-pound clean, 185-pound split jerk. So impressive. 240-pound back squat, 215-pound front squat, and just recently, I believe you hit this. A 5-rep max strict press at 100 pounds. A new PR. That was just a couple of weeks ago, right?
Friday.
Oh my gosh, it was even earlier than that. So there you go.
Presses, Dallas.
Yeah. Well, I don't know when this is going to come out, so I said a couple of weeks ago, trying to add the time a little bit, but that's all right. Rachael's also an assistant producer for Joe DeVary. Joe DeVary, Country Financial. She is one of the most well-known and beloved CrossFitters at our gym, and she is the woman behind CrossFit Edwardsville's social media presence on Instagram and Facebook, and she assumed the social media broadcaster responsibility this past year. So when we talk about things like Facebook, IG, and all that fun stuff, know that Rachael is behind some of that. But today we get to learn more about her as a CrossFitter and the woman outside the gym.
Cool. So we will we'll break the ice with some easier questions for Rachael. So, Rach, with over 700 CrossFit sessions under your belt, you clearly have some perspective. We'd love to hear from you. What are some of your all-time favorite CrossFit workouts?
Gosh, well, if it involves a barbell, it's obviously going to be up there. I love DT, which is a hero WOD, because it's all barbell and it's fast-paced and it's just grab it, rip it, and grip it, basically. Though, actually, one of the workouts we've done this week, which was rowing and hang cleans. Hang cleans are in DT too. What do you know?
Right.
That one was fun. I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, basically, if there's a barbell involved, I'm probably going to like it.
That's a woman after my own heart right there.
So the thing that these two workouts have in common, in addition to being very barbell centric, they're also fast and furious and fierce workouts, and they're generally done in less than 10 minutes. Super efficient way to exercise. So along those lines, right, you touched on like some favorites, the efficiency of the CrossFit thing. What's the hardest CrossFit workout you've ever done, Rachael?
There's a few. Honestly, it's not a secret. I do not like any form of burpee. I make this very obvious. So if it involves burpees, I'm probably going to complain about it. Let's just be honest. But honestly, the workout that was the hardest workout I've ever done, and I've done it multiple times, which is really weird, is it was named Grisabelle, which is actually a barbell workout. It's it's power cleans and power snatches. But the trick with that one is it's a lot of unbroken work, and it is brutal. It is absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
It's fun, but it's brutal.
The Grisabelle is 30 clean and jerks, 30 snatches for time at 95 pounds for women, right?
No. Grisabelle is 3 rounds, 10 of each movement for each round.
Okay.
And I think it's only 65 pounds for the barbell, but it's each 10 reps have to be unbroken.
Yeah.
Which is the part that's harder.
Very grippy.
Yeah, it's like when you get done, you can't move your arms for a good 10 minutes.
Well, so Rach, I think we already know where this next answer is going, because you've already kind of hinted at the barbell element. But when you see on the program, when you walk in the door, or you see it in the programming, what are the exercises or WODs that get you most excited?
Well, if there's a strength portion for the day, I'm always going to be about that. Because I actually do a bunch of Olympic lifting outside of the programming in the gym, but I always do all the lifting programming from the gym too. So I always get really excited when we're lifting during class, because with my other programming, I don't get to lift with a bunch of other people, so that's fun.
Sure.
And it's always fun when we're pairing up to do different lifts, and I end up pairing up with guys because their weights match mine.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
It's gotta make you feel good to be so strong that your competition is guys.
I have to wonder, do you ever walk up with just the little 1 pound plates after the guy does a lift, and you toss them on just to be like, "What's up, bro?"
I have. Yeah. That's always fun.
That's the move. So Rachael, like, being a veteran CrossFitter now, a few years into the game, what is the number one mistake that you see newbie CrossFitters making? You know, people that are just coming into CrossFit now.
It's trying to do too much too soon, I think. There's a lot to be said for learning the techniques behind stuff. And I mean, even somebody like me who is, more of a veteran lifter, I've definitely matured in my own lifting a lot in the last 3 years. There's a lot to be said for getting an empty barbell and just training the movements. I mean, there's still times where I will strip weight and be like, I'm not getting this. I need to back up. And it's the same. And it's the same with other movements too, like with the kettlebell or with, gymnastic stuff is my weakness. And so I'm, still staying in your lane and learning what you can there before you're moving on.
I do want to brag on you for a moment, because while you say that gymnastics is your weakness, you're one of the few females at the gym that can do full legit pistols.
True. Yeah.
It's really impressive. Which, if you don't know, to the audience, a pistol is a single leg squat, full range down, full range up, all on one leg. It's an impressive feat of not just strength, but also flexibility and balance and coordination, and to an extent agility. And pretty awesome that she's got both. Rachael can squat a house and do single leg squats. Impressive body weight exercise.
That's
Thank
cool.
you.
Well, Rachael, let me ask you this then. What would you say right now is your number one goal in fitness? What are you hoping to attain and working on at the moment?
Right now, my number one goal is I'm trying to improve my clean. It is my weakness when it comes to lifting. It's what's holding my clean and jerk back, because if I can get it to my shoulders, it's going overhead. Like, that's not an issue. But my clean has always been a weakness of mine because of my turnover. So I've been doing a lot of drilling with my turnover. So, I mean, I would love by the end of the year to see a 200-pound clean and jerk. That would be
Totally
like what I
doable.
would love to see.
I think that you and Dallas both have the same strength. Like Dallas can, if it's shoulder to overhead, Dallas is the man. Like Dallas is incredible with that. For a lot of people, if you get the clean, like the jerk will happen because most people can jerk more than they can clean.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like there's definitely a disproportionate level of one-sidedness with the lifting. But the good news is
Mhm.
you're addressing it and it's getting better.
Yeah,
It is.
and for me too, on the clean, it's the speed under the bar and wrist
Mhm.
mobility. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
definitely we struggle with the same thing there.
Mhm.
Well, let's go back in time. Can we talk about you just a little bit?
Sure, why
All right,
not?
and your journey into the CrossFit Edwardsville community. So, how did you first find out about CFE?
Oh gosh, I was trying to think about that before. I want to say what it was so I mean, if you know me at the gym, you know that I have very loud leggings. Like that's me. That's who I am. If I wear black ones, people comment.
Right?
Yeah.
Shout out to CVG, constantly
If
very
if
gear.
if I wear black leggings, people think there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Is she in mourning? What's going on?
Yeah.
What's up?
Something's
But
wrong with
anyway,
Rachel. Somebody
yeah.
check on her.
Constantly very gear is pretty much what I wear 90% of the time at the gym. And they have a Facebook group. And I've been part of that group for a really long time. And they're CrossFit focused, but not fully CrossFit. They do a lot of other stuff too. And I was like, maybe I was getting bored with what I was doing. So maybe I should try something else. So I commented, I put the question out there. Hey, I kind of want to try CrossFit. See if I even like it. I don't know. Is there anybody local that knows of a gym around me? And a couple people were like, well, CrossFit Edwardsville is people are always talking about CrossFit Edwardsville. That's one to try. And I was like, all right, let's give it a whirl. So that's kind of how it happened. It was very much like, hey, like two people said, try CrossFit Edwardsville. And I said, okay.
That's so wild. So essentially, you found out about us, an online group,
Mhm.
couple locals. Do you have any idea who those people were?
I honestly, I was trying to figure it out. I can't remember honestly who it is. Because like I even went to the group to try to figure it out, but I'm like, no, that won't work because I've funneled so many people to that group at this point that I can't remember who it was anymore.
Right.
But I mean, that was 3 years ago. I don't remember.
Well, let's take it out of 3 years from now. Let's fast forward it today. What is your craziest or your wildest or your funniest memory of CrossFit so far?
Oh gosh. To be honest, the biggest thing that sticks out as of right now is just the weightlifting club in general. If you haven't joined us on Saturdays at 10 a.m. for weightlifting, you are missing out.
It's its own group.
It's its own thing.
I don't want to say it's been a while since I've been there. I don't want to say it's a cult group, but it's kind of like people who are hardcore crazy.
Yeah. But it's a really great group of people, and like we don't just lift, we have so much fun doing it. And it's literally just, well, actually all the Saturday classes have kind of turned into that, where it's just people that just really enjoy being at CrossFit and hanging out with people. It's basically the one time a week where it's just more of a social hour and we lift.
I've heard, and you can confirm or deny this if you like, but I've heard that there's essentially like the Saturday crew is a subculture of the cult that is CrossFit. And then there's a subculture of that is a coffee club. Is that a real thing?
That is a thing. Coffee club is on Saturdays. Yes, we work out, we go get coffee, then we work out.
Cheers. I raised my cold brew too. So Rach, in addition to like the weightlifting club and just the Saturday fun people cult, what keeps you coming back to CFE day in, day out?
To be honest, it's the people. The CFE, when anybody talks about CFE, it's always talks about the CFE family, and it's a legit thing. Like the CFE family, like you can pretty much ask any question, you're going to get an answer from a bunch of people, and not because they want to tell you this, you should definitely do it this way, but because they genuinely care about you. And there's competition with things, but it's all friendly competition. Yeah. It's not mean. It's not anything. And you know, and it's very diverse in the competition too. Like people will like go like, because you know we keep track of all of our scores on the same board, and you know people will be like, oh, I got to beat them today. and it doesn't matter, male, female, young, old, everybody's kind of like together in it, and it's fun.
One of the best / worst feelings is when one of the coaches, especially after a power session, is like, what'd you clean? What'd you pull? Whatever it is. And you have to yell your number out in front of the rest of the class. And that other person yells out like 5 pounds more than you. And you go, oh.
Yeah, there's probably like 4 or 5 girls that, and actually a couple guys mixed in there too, that we look at numbers, especially if they're going to be in the morning. We know they're there, and like we're like, okay, I got to do 5 more pounds. Like you know that like if this person lifts this, you know that this other person's going to lift 5 more. That's just how it is
every time.
There's the game that happens all day long. It's that little bit like the people advance the game throughout the day. Like the midday people will slightly outdo the morning people, and the evening people will slightly outdo the midday people. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
So just now focusing entirely on Rachael, what have been the best benefits for you doing CrossFit? Like, how's it changed in terms of like how you look, how you feel, how you perform as an athlete, a woman, a business professional? Talk to us what difference it's made for you.
It's definitely made me a lot more, gosh, I don't even know the right word to use. It's made me more like push myself harder than I've ever thought I could do. Like I honestly never thought that I could lift what I could lift. Like that never crossed my mind. There were certain movements that I never thought I would ever figure out how to do or learn, and I figured it out. And so like, you know, for me, that aspect of CrossFit really helped me learn that, you know, I can really honestly do anything. I just got to try. I got to start and I got to try, which, you know, led me to, you know, completely change career paths about 3 years ago too. So it's definitely been, it's been the kind of the catalyst for just making me realize I can do pretty much whatever I set my mind to.
That's so awesome. I believe it was Glassman, but I could be wrong, that said the truly the greatest adaptations that happen in CrossFit are between the ears, in terms of how you think, how you see yourself, seeing yourself as an athlete and seeing what you're capable of, and realizing how many amazing possibilities are out there. It seems as though like the fitness aspect of that has translated to other areas of your life and allowed you to see the world and see more possibilities. And from the sound of it, pursue careers that you might not have pursued otherwise.
100%. 100%.
Well, let me ask you a little bit about that. I'm gonna jump forward just a couple of questions. Let's talk about your career. So you mentioned that big shift. We can chat about your family and your upbringing here in a few moments, but tell us about your recent career moves and the excitement of your new direction.
Okay, so I went to school for education. I was in education for 7.5 years, and I wasn't happy. I loved the kids. I loved that aspect of it, but I was not happy with what I was doing. I knew that it was time for a change, and I didn't know what. So I went and worked. I honestly went to my financial advisor, and him being a good one, called out the fact that he's like, so how's your job?
Yeah.
And I said, well, and he's like, you looking? And I said, possibly. I was at that point, but I was like, where's this going? And he's like, well, you ever thought about doing this? And my first reaction was, no. That would be a big negative. I don't want to do, like, I've never been good with money. I've never been good with math and any of that. So I'm like, what? No, like, and he's like, trust me, it's not about that. And I was like, all right. I mean, at this point, I'm like, I'm going to try anything. So I started going through the process and realizing that it's so much of the stuff that I loved about education, I still was going to get to do. So I was like, all right, let's go that route. And I was with one company for about 3 years, give or take. And then this past February, so a couple months ago, I made the shift, kind of a lateral shift, to a new company to work as an assistant producer under another rep, more focusing on the insurance side of things, which is the side that I really love.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I was going to ask what your particular area of expertise in the financial services was. So, but you hit on that. So that's great.
I think there might be a little bit more to unpack. Like, what is your new direction, your new thing, besides just generally insurance?
So, the company I work for, Country, it's very broad when it comes to insurance. They cover a lot of stuff. And the one actually area of insurance that I never thought I would like, which would be the home insurance and the property side of insurance, which is home insurance, business insurance, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't know about this. And I'm finding that I actually really enjoy it. So again, take chances, try it. You never know. So I do a lot more with the property casualty insurance, still with the life insurance, which is still something that I really enjoy as well. So yeah, that's kind of where my focus is now.
Nice.
I want to find out a little bit more about Rachael of times past, like the woman behind.
Okay.
Right. So tell us about your upbringing, your childhood, like where you're from, what your family was like, any special memories that really shaped you as a person.
So I am a Clinton County girl. I was not born in Clinton County, but I moved there when I was very young. Was raised there, Carlisle specifically. But I lived in a little kind of village outside of Carlisle, 50 houses maybe at the most. My brother and I were.
I know that village. I sneezed last time I drove through it.
Probably.
It was gone.
My brother and I were the only ones under the age of 25 there. So 90% of the houses were people that were already retired, but it made it so that we had the run of the entire town. Like we had forts in random people's backyards. We would go up and knock on doors and be like, hey, what are you having for lunch? And we just eat lunch at random people's houses. This is the 90s. So, no one cared. My mom would get us home by ringing a cowbell because that was the only thing you could hear in the entire area. So that was kind of like how I was brought up. I didn't even see a mail truck that was going to deliver my own mail until I was 14. So
wow.
I was raised as a country girl. But that's kind of where I lived. And honestly, those are some of my best memories. Were just me and my brother. My brother and I are super close. We've always been close, even as kids. A lot of siblings say, "Oh, I fought with my sibling like crazy." Yeah, we fought, but we were always like I call him and he calls me our first best friend. Like that's how close we are.
Is he a little older than you?
He's younger than me.
He's younger. Okay,
he's 2 years younger than me. I'm the oldest.
Gotcha.
And then we moved about an hour away from there when I was in 8th grade and moved into town, saw my first mail truck. So that was an experience. Had to learn how to cross a road. I did not know how to the whole looking both ways thing. People would stop for me. Like literally I would just run in the road when I grew up and people would just wait. Like I didn't know you were supposed to look both ways and not run out in front of vehicles. So that was an experience.
I feel like your parents should have told you this.
Well, they probably did. But it wasn't something that we had to deal with. So it wasn't, you just throw it in the back of your brain and at some point.
And drivers weren't distracted with a phone either.
Correct. Exactly. Again, 90s.
Yeah,
So
and Rachel was busy having lunch at the neighbor's house, so the parents didn't get around to sharing the lesson about
just
looking
come
both
home when the
ways
street
before
lights on.
crossing
It's
the
fine.
road.
Yep, pretty much. Exactly. Yeah, so moved there when I was in 8th grade, and then we ended up this direction when I was in freshman in college. So that's how I ended up in the Metro East area.
Gotcha.
Welcome to our neighborhood. So tell us about family now. Like, do a shout out to significant others, other family, future family aspirations.
So I'm married to my husband, Brandon. We'll be married for 11 years in June.
Nice.
High school sweethearts. So we've been together for almost 15 and a half years.
The secret that nobody knows is that Brandon was actually the one who taught her to look both ways before.
Probably.
And teach this girl.
Someone had to teach her how to be safe on the street there.
Yeah. Yes, he was born and raised in Clinton County. We actually did not meet when I was living there. We met later on.
Never had lunch at that house, I guess.
Yeah. But we did find out later after we started dating that at some point my brother and him were on the same soccer team. So that's kind of funny.
And it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So Brandon's a little younger than you.
He is.
He's a year the older lady. Look at this.
Brandon's a year younger than me.
Nice.
So yeah.
So loud. I think so. I think everybody knows that Caroline is a little older than me as well. And is it true that Dallas that Meg's a little older than you, or no?
No, Meg and I have the same birthday, but I'm 2 years older to the day.
That's right. I remember about
we share a birth date.
Yeah, exactly.
So
March 20?
March 24th.
I knew
Brandon's
that.
birthday is the 23rd.
Good job.
Oh, nice.
So Brandon is I am 14 months older than Brandon.
Okay.
And he is 14 inches taller than me.
That's wild.
That's funny.
Interesting metrics on this. But hey, you're a CrossFitter. You gotta have data on everything.
I am. Right. It's the thing.
Yeah. What's Brandon's clean?
He doesn't have one because he doesn't lift.
PVC pipe.
No, he does not.
Let the trash talk begin.
Yeah, no, he's
I can outlift you, bro.
One of my goals was to be able to deadlift his weight, and yes, I can. So
nice.
Hell yeah. And this is a side note, but your deadlift is not your strongest move. That's a secondary thought to you.
Yeah, I don't deadlift very often, so
as a secondary effort, Rachael can even just like half trying deadlift her husband.
Yeah. Let's say, oh gosh, about 2 weeks ago, I deadlifted for the first time in 6 months and pulled 220. So.
Interestingly, like a lot of weightlifters don't deadlift specifically a lot. You clean deadlift, you snatch deadlift, but deadlifts by themselves, like a traditional hips high, hamstring loaded, not as much of a weightlifter move. Yeah. So.
I was told after the fact that after I lifted it that it was actually a clean deadlift. So there's that.
Still counts. Well, let's shift to things outside the gym. Rachael, tell us about hobbies, interests, the things that you do for fun besides fitness, and tell us about your friends. Shout out your people.
Okay, so my favorite thing to do is read. I think we've already kind of alluded to that a little bit. I'm a reader. I love reading. About 5 years ago, my husband for my birthday built me a library. Best gift ever. So yeah, I think the last time I counted, I have over 1,000 physical titles.
Nice.
Yeah. And most of them I have actually read. I'm not just a piler.
Barnes and Beckemeyer.
Pretty much. But that's kind of my thing. And then my husband and I'm going to shout out my own YouTube channel. So my husband and I have a joint YouTube channel and TikTok that we do. It's called The Rogue Urban Homestead. Basically, we are working towards creating our own urban homestead and becoming self-sufficient within what we can while living in town. So he's big into gardening. I'm big into canning and preserving. We're trying to do as much stuff as we can that's sustainable, and we're just kind of documenting our process of that. So
nice.
Tell us again, what is the name of the YouTube channel about this?
The Rogue Urban Homestead.
The Rogue Urban Homestead. And
Mm-hmm.
so the mission for you guys is to be as sustainable and self-sustaining as
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Yep.
So
While living in town.
while
Yep.
living in town. So this is a new frontier
It is.
for
It
me.
very much, yeah.
So what is the most challenging thing about this? Because I've never really wrapped my brain around this concept before.
So the most challenging thing is to learn to live within your own means by way of, how can you make the transition from, buying it at the store to maybe making it yourself, or trying to get as close to farm to table as you can by sourcing things instead of, most things at the grocery store are called double source, meaning they have to source it, then you source it from the grocery store. The goal with most homesteading is to single source. So to find somebody, if you don't have chickens, to find somebody that can you can source that from, to find somebody that you can source beef from, to find somebody you can source this or that or whatever it is. So that's pretty much the general premise, is looking for as much as you can that you can single source out. So like we're this year going to have a garden that's going to produce hopefully enough vegetables that we will not have to buy any vegetables for the entirety of next winter.
Wow.
I have not personally bought a loaf of bread or any type of bread product at a store since December.
Wow.
So those kind of things, like how can you create an environment where you are single sourcing?
Got it. So single sourcing speaks to your groceries, the produce.
Mm-hmm.
What about the rest of things? Like your basic toiletries, your toothpaste,
Yep.
bathroom tissue, all of that. Like, how does that play in with all of this?
And that's kind of the reason why we call it the Rogue Homestead, because we kind of do it our own way. There are certain things that we probably will always go, and still source out, just because we don't want to get into that. But like, there's really easy ways to make products on your own. Like I am attempting to learn how to make my own soap. I'm attempting to learn how to make my own household cleaners. I don't buy household cleaners anymore. I make most of them myself.
Nice.
So like those kind of things. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So I've had a fringe fascination with survivalist communities for a while. And I have a feeling that the single sourcing and the becoming self-sufficient, there's probably a lot of overlap between this and survivalist communities.
Yeah.
Like I've read fascinating stories about people who they'll do like a 3-day complete unplug where you're not allowed to access any electronics. Your power is shut off for 3 days voluntarily, and you learn what is it that you have on hand and what don't you have on hand to function and live your everyday life in the absence of all the conveniences that we usually get.
Correct.
Have you guys ever thought about doing that sort of thing? We're like, all right, for the next week, we're going to see if we can live completely independently of all second source things or whatever.
So for us, the end game goal is to buy land and have our own home, to be living off grid. And living off grid in simplest terms just means you're not connected to the power grid. You're not connected to water. Everything you supply yourself. So that is our end game goal. Both my husband and I have decided that we're not going to go, like we could if we had to, but we're not going to go as far as to like disconnecting and seeing if we could do it. Because I mean, like even now, like we have our house, we have it wired so that if power were to go out, we actually can plug our house into a generator. Like we have a plug on the outside of our house now. So and then I'm going to be honest, I'm addicted to technology. I love technology. Which is why I really
YouTube channel.
Exactly. So that's kind of our thing, is like trying to find that balance between living in 2022 but still functioning as independent as possible.
I think that amongst people in our age bracket, like the minimalism concept is definitely getting a lot of traction and steam. It's a big deal to myself and my wife. We're minimalists. We give more things away than we purchase, and that's very freeing and very liberating, not to be as tied to stuff. And Dallas and I have talked about decluttering our lives in terms of doing information fasts where we intentionally steer away from the news to an extent. We will intentionally move away from screens or internet connection or social media or whatever. It's incredibly freeing. Like, is that a part of this for you guys? Is just like the feeling of freedom that comes from?
So for sure, that's definitely something my husband is very much into. Brandon is huge. I always joke that he was born in the right decade, just the wrong century. He should have been born in 1890, and 1890 and not 1990 is when he should have been born, because he very much he would love to function as a turn of the century farm. Like, that's what he thinks is amazing. He's a very old soul. He just is. That's who he is. He does as much. I mean, he woodworks, and yes, he uses power tools, but he also does a lot of it by hand. So, because that's what he likes, and that's what, a lot of the things that we do in our garden are very much things that have been practices, that people have used for hundreds of years, not as much of the new stuff. So it's for him, that is very much an end game goal, is to try to get to that point. I don't know if I'm there yet.
You know what I will say though, Rachael, is, my wife and I we're extremely deep into the minimalist movement, and our aspiration is to move to a tiny home. And when we do, I do hope that the Beckemeyer household is, our neighbor 1 mile down the road, because I will say that when you're on the journey that you're on, you become an incredibly useful human being to have around.
Oh, yes.
You'd be a fantastic neighbor. And you have somebody
I'll have the gym.
What's that?
I'll have the gym. That's actually in the plans of the home we want to build, is a gym for me. So there's that.
Because #fitness, right?
Exactly.
So, Rachel, are there any mantras or mottos or philosophies that guide you in life? And if so, what are they?
I'll try to censor myself here. Is get ish done.
You don't have to censor anything.
You don't have to censor.
I don't have to censor myself?
No.
Sweet. Okay. I'll be good then. But
I call it the GSD though.
Okay. Yeah. Get shit done. That is, you just sometimes you just have to take a breath and be like, you know what? Let's just get it done. Don't think, just do. Because one problem I've always had is overthinking things and being too much in my own head. And when I stop that and when I just do it, I blow my own mind of what I could accomplish. So for me, that's the big one, is just get shit done.
Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Exactly.
Go time. So this next question, ties in with this, and maybe your answer is the same, maybe it's not. But if Rachael Beckemeyer can make only one statement to the world, what would it be? Or to put it a different way, if you had to choose one thing to say on a billboard that'll be seen by thousands or millions of people, what would that billboard say?
It would say, don't think, just do.
I like that. Simple.
Yep.
Don't think, just do. Overthinking can cripple people a lot of the time.
It really can. And it's crippled me many, many times. So, just don't think about it too much, and just try it, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So as you look ahead in life, Rachael, what most excites you about the future? What do you most look forward to?
Well, honestly, right now, the thing I look forward to the most is how just the way and the things that my husband and I are kind of putting into place are, we're planners. We've always been like, what's our 5-year plan? What's our 5-year plan? What's our 10-year plan? What's our 20-year plan? And, we've been married for 11 years, and it always seems like that plan has been changing, but it's okay. It happens.
That's normal. That's just life.
That's life. But for the first time in a while, we're looking at our 5-year plan and realizing that our 5-year plan is actually our 3-year plan. So we're closer to our goals than we ever have been before. And I'm excited to see all of that kind of come to fruition.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And with good planning, it can happen.
Yeah.
Rachael, We're super excited. Thank you for joining us on the podcast. How can people find out more about you and I guess the Rogue Urban Homestead?
Yep.
if they want to?
So YouTube, we post on there. I try to post a video about every week, every other week. Right now, it's going to be ramping up a lot because we're going to start canning a lot more. We're going to start gardening a lot more. So you're going to see a lot of that content.
Oh, I'm gonna have to just watch this one. I made lard and a giant mess.
Enjoy that video. It's
yeah,
it's a
that
trip.
to me
It is a
sounds
trip.
fantastic. Yeah.
But so that's something we're on I'm on TikTok personally, and then we actually have an account on TikTok as well. We're over there all the time. So it's very similar. The for our TikTok is the same thing, except just it's rogue_urban_homestead is the TikTok. And then I on my personal IG post my lifting stuff all the time, so you can see that, which is Rachaels.and.b.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Rachel, thank you again so much for joining us on the podcast. Dallas, thank you for joining me on the podcast today.
Of course.
We got a couple handles here you can check out at Rogue Urban Homestead on the TikToks and again on YouTube as well. Learn more. If you're interested, if you're a female, you want to get into the weightlifting thing or take the average boring weightlifting experience at the Globo gym and go to a gym that actually has Olympic lifting bars and proper coaching, proper technique, or so you can learn to be really phenomenal with weightlifting, give us a shout at CrossFitEdwardsville.com. You can book a no sweat intro with a coach, no sweat conversation with a coach, low-key, chill conversation. We'll outline what your unique CrossFitter journey looks like and see where it takes us. But Rachel, thank you again.
Thanks, Rachel.
Dallas,
Thank you. It's been fun.
thank you again. Guys, as Dallas loves to say, have yourselves a championship day.